Have you ever wondered about those small, metallic devices fixed to the ceilings of offices, hotels, and department stores? They sit there quietly, almost invisible to the casual observer, yet they are among the most vital components of modern building safety. These are automatic fire sprinklers, and despite what you might have seen in action movies, they do not all trigger at once when someone pulls a fire alarm, nor do they respond to a simple puff of cigarette smoke. Instead, they operate on a beautifully simple, purely mechanical system governed by the laws of physics and thermodynamics. Understanding how these life-saving devices work reveals an incredible engineering achievement that relies entirely on heat to break a fragile glass bulb and release life-saving water precisely where it is needed most. To truly appreciate how a fire sprinkler works, it helps to look closely at its anatomy. A standard fire sprinkler head consists of a threaded base connected to a pressurized water pipe network hidden behind the ceiling. Extending from this base is a metallic frame that holds a tiny, brightly colored glass bulb tightly in place. This bulb acts as a physical plug, holding back a tremendous amount of water pressure. At the very tip of the frame is a deflector plate, which looks like a small, serrated wheel or umbrella. The entire system sits under constant pressure, waiting for the exact moment it needs to deploy. The secret to the automation of this system lies entirely within that tiny glass bulb. If you look closely at one, you will notice it is filled with a colored liquid, often red, orange, yellow, or green, along with a small air bubble. This liquid is typically an alcohol-based fluid with a high thermal expansion coefficient. This means the liquid is highly sensitive to changes in temperature. When a fire breaks out on the ground below, it generates hot gases and smoke that rise rapidly toward the ceiling. As these thermal currents pool against the ceiling, the temperature surrounding the sprinkler head begins to climb. As the ambient temperature rises, the specialized liquid inside the glass bulb begins to expand. Because the glass bulb is completely sealed, the expanding liquid compresses the small air bubble until the bubble disappears entirely. Once the liquid has no more room to expand, it exerts an immense internal pressure against the glass walls. When the temperature reaches a specific predetermined threshold, the internal pressure overcomes the structural integrity of the glass, causing the bulb to shatter into tiny pieces. The shattering of the bulb is the definitive turning point in the activation process. The moment the glass breaks, the structural support holding the plug in place vanishes. The intense water pressure from the overhead pipes immediately blows the plug out of the way. Water then rushes out of the small orifice at a high velocity, striking the deflector plate at the bottom of the sprinkler head. The deflector plate is meticulously engineered to break the solid stream of high-pressure water into a carefully designed spray pattern. Instead of a single jet of water, it creates a wide, heavy mist or shower designed to blanket the area directly beneath the sprinkler, effectively suppressing or extinguishing the flames, cooling the surrounding air, and preventing the fire from spreading to adjacent rooms. One of the most common misconceptions about fire sprinkler systems, largely perpetuated by Hollywood films, is the idea of total room activation. In movies, a character might hold a lighter under a single sprinkler head, or pull a manual fire alarm lever, causing every single sprinkler in the entire building to activate simultaneously, soaking everyone and ruining all the paperwork. In reality, this is not how standard systems operate at all. Because each sprinkler head is individually controlled by its own independent glass bulb, only the sprinkler heads exposed to the actual heat of the fire will activate. If a small fire breaks out in a corner of a large room, only the one or two sprinkler heads directly above that heat source will shatter and release water. The sprinklers in the rest of the room, and certainly in the rest of the building, remain completely dry and intact. This localized activation design minimizes unnecessary water damage to property while maximizing firefighting efficiency exactly where the hazard is located. The different colors of the liquid inside the bulbs are not just for aesthetics, they represent a highly standardized coding system for temperature ratings. Engineers choose specific sprinkler heads based on the expected environment of a room. For example, a standard office or living room typically uses a sprinkler with a red liquid bulb, which is rated to shatter at approximately 68 degrees Celsius or 155 degrees Fahrenheit. This temperature is high enough that normal summer heat or cooking vapors will not trigger it, but low enough to catch a structural fire in its earliest stages. In places like commercial kitchens, boiler rooms, or industrial warehouses where everyday operations generate higher baseline temperatures, engineers install sprinklers with green, blue, or even black bulbs. These bulbs require significantly higher temperatures to break, sometimes reaching well over 180 degrees Celsius, ensuring that the system does not accidentally activate during normal business operations. The reliability of this mechanical design is astonishingly high. Because the activation relies on the physical expansion of liquid and the mechanical breaking of glass, it does not require electricity, batteries, computer chips, or internet connectivity to function. Even if a fire cuts off all electrical power to a building, the physical pressure of the water and the thermal reaction of the glass bulb remain completely unaffected. It is a fail-safe system that has saved countless lives and billions of dollars in property damage since its widespread adoption. When we look at the entire life cycle of a fire event, the fire sprinkler acts as the immediate first responder. Long before the fire department can receive an emergency call, navigate traffic, and hook up their hoses, the automatic sprinkler has already detected the heat, shattered its bulb, and begun fighting the fire. Statistics show that the vast majority of fires in sprinklered buildings are controlled by just one or two sprinkler heads. By suppressing the flames early, they prevent the fire from reaching a flashover state, which is the point where an entire room erupts into flames simultaneously. Furthermore, by keeping the fire contained, sprinklers drastically reduce the production of toxic smoke, which is statistically the leading cause of casualties in structural fires. Ultimately, the fire sprinkler system is a masterpiece of life safety engineering. It perfectly balances simplicity with effectiveness, utilizing the predictable nature of thermal expansion to create an automated, decentralized defense system. The next time you glance up at a ceiling and spot that small glass bulb, you can appreciate the elegant science keeping watch overhead, ready to shatter under pressure so that everything else remains safe.